Amanda, der Panda, träumt davon, als Frontend-Developer in Berlin zu arbeiten.
Bei Stepstone haben wir keine Jobs für Pandas.
Oh.
Für dich aber schon. Mit den neuesten Karrieretools helfen wir dir, deinen nächsten Karriereschritt zu gehen. Traumjob Stepstone.
Sorry, Amanda.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Grissom, and I'd like to welcome you to this broadcast of your Kundalini Awakening blog talk radio station. And it is a great honor to announce that I am doing this from Joey, from her house, her beautiful home in Minnesota, surrounding a beautiful, beautiful pond with lots of beautiful wildlife in it that she attracts every day as she walks around it. And I am surrounded by beautiful, beautiful Kundalini awakened women. I have on my left, I have Santara Kundalini. She has flown from Ireland to be with us today. And on my right, I have Michelle Ranger, who has flown in from Australia so she could be with us tonight. And Katie is here. Katie is usually in the chat room. And so everybody is here, and it's a really a beautiful, beautiful sight. We are getting ready for a discussion that we'll be having later on. Hello, Katie. And we're all gathered together here in, what do they call this place here?
Mendota Heights.
Mendota Heights in the great state of Minnesota, United States. And we're having a seminar this weekend. And as we've been announcing, for the past 19 million weeks, we have the seminar coming up. And Rosemary right now is Rosemary right now is getting ready. You need to communicate that she's going to be standing outside or within a church, passing out flyers that will hopefully bring people in to the discussion tonight. She made some sort of a commitment with the pastor of the church, and she wants to hold true to her Kundalini, and so she has decided to go over there and follow up on her commitment. And so she's doing that right now. Santara, of course, is in the bathroom again. This is what I think happens in Ireland, but she just doesn't admit it, Anyway, so welcome to the conversation today, everybody. One thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to begin to talk to Michelle Ranger, who's usually here in the chat room. And I'm going to go over to the chat room right now and make sure that we're coming through loud and clear. And so somebody in the chat room, Tim or Vicky or someone there, let us know if the sound is coming through okay today. We are on location. We are not within our normal position. And, as happens sometimes when you're on location, you get the little bugs, you get some of the disturbances. And Vicky is saying, yes, we are loud and clear. She actually said, yup. Yup, loud and clear. So thank you, Vicky. Mm-hmm. Vicky, all right. So here we go. Michelle, I would like you to tell us one of the amazing things that happened to you as you were boarding the plane.
Okay, all right. So I was catching a plane would be Monday for US. Monday morning, and I was running late, which was really. Me and my mum were waiting at the airport, and Mum needed to go to the toilet at the last minute, of course. And I don't know how, but somehow everyone was boarding, and she wasn't there, so I went up to go find her, but she walked past me, and I don't know how she walked past me because I would have seen her because the airport's very small. But she was waiting. because where everybody walks through, and so I missed it. So they're calling me on the PA, and I'm like rushing down, going, okay. So anyway, so I ended up being last. So but the funny thing is that the reason why I was last is because when I walked out to board my plane, where I can see everybody in line up, and up the stairs. And as I walked out, there was a huge swarm of bees. They were all over
honeybees?
I'm not sure. I couldn't really see because I was too busy going, oh my God. so I back, because I'm allergic to bees, but not like where I'd go to the hospital. What if I get stung and I really swell up? So I stood back and just watched it, and they were swarming all over, like around the plane and where everybody was boarding. So they were doing that for probably about a good 10, 15 minutes.
Wow.
So as everybody was boarding on the plane, obviously I was getting a big long gap. So I was like, all right, between me and the end of the line. So I put my hoodie on and I really covered myself up. And so that way I'm like, so as soon as I start walking forward, the bees started pushing away from me. So they started flying away from me. And eventually when I got to the line, they were completely out of the line and on the side of the plane. So I boarded bee-free all the way up to the plane. So it was something amazing. That's something you just don't see every day. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, unless you keep bees, which I do, you don't see the swarms every day. And there's nothing like 40,000 bees.
Oh, there would have been so many. I couldn't even tell you how many.
And of course, that is a very strong signature of the Shakti Kundalini as well. And did you have thoughts of that?
Not straight away. I was too busy trying to protect myself, going into survival mode. But as soon as I got onto the plane and sat down, and then realised that prison does talk about bees and how they relate to Kundalini, and then I just went into sort of like a grace moment and just felt so blessed to be able to witness that. And yeah, I almost cried. I tried to not cry on the plane because people would be looking at me weird. So it was amazing. It was really good.
Have you had other experiences with regards to wildlife there in Australia as you continued with your Kundalini equation?
Yes, lots. Snakes. I do run into a few snakes where I live. There are a few snakes. I also have a pet snake, but when I guess I would say it's kind of the time and the place when I kind of understand the Kundalini snake, just because there's a few synchronicity events that happen on that day for me to go, okay, there's a bit of a Kundalini energy happening around me at the time, and then a snake would just pop up somewhere.
Well, are they venomous?
No, they're python snakes. So I have seen some green tree snakes, but majority of them are python snakes.
Are they tree snakes?
No. So no venomous ones, luckily.
Well, you have the red belly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think where I come from, I think that's more WA. I know there's
What is WA?
Western Australia, sorry. Western Australia.
And where are you from?
I'm from the Gold Coast in Queensland.
And that is?
If you're looking at Australia, it's on the right-hand side of Australia.
So this would be the eastern district, or the eastern coastline?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And is that, where would that be in relation to Sydney?
10 hours north from Sydney.
And Sydney's considered what?
New South Wales.
New South Wales. There it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So for those of you who are having a bit of a geography lesson, like myself, so she's on the east coast of Australia, about 10 hours north of Sydney, and in the quadrant that they call the Gold Coast. Is that because they mine gold there, or is it just really pretty?
Probably because I guess the beaches are just so beautiful there. I think that's probably why they call them Gold Coast. Yeah.
Okay, and so now tell me, what is do you have a reason outside of just blatant tourism for coming to the United States? What's going on with you? How come you're here?
Good question. Well, one, the seminar that's happening on the weekend.
Okay.
And second, I guess, because I've been following the radio station for a year now, and I kind of got a few questions for myself, as in my Kundalini experience. I still have doubts, obviously, about my experiences, and I think that it was just time to finally meet everybody face to face and actually be around some Kundalini people to see if, I don't know, not to see if we're the same, but I guess to see what it feels like. Yeah, exactly. To see what it feels like and to feel everybody else's energy as well, I guess. And I guess it's just a bit more clarification on
that is common a lot, and it's really a good idea. That's a great place to experience other people's energy. Right now, we're inside of the energetic equation of Joey and Katie, myself, and yourself, and even this right here at this table where we are. It's incredibly rare to have this many people in the beautiful space that Joey's provided, activated and awakened. It's an amazing scenario. And I'll suggest people to come to these seminars just to experience that. Just that alone. They can sit through the lecture, they can, do all the different exercises we do, they can listen to the information. They can even take the Shaktipat. But if none of that works for them, it's just being in the company of somebody who is giving off, the amount of radiance that Kate's giving off right now. And giving off the amount of radiance that Joey and you yourself and myself are giving off right now. We're kind of like, if you can imagine, four stones thrown into a very still pond, and how those concentric rings intersect with each other, forming the Shaktipat on each perimeter of each ring. So it's very much, and now Amelia has just joined us from the area of the restroom.
Now you know. Now you know.
Actually, she's doing. She's pulling yeoman's duty here because she's going into the restroom with her phone and the headphones up to her ear, and she's gauging the sound quality. She's, the last time she came in, she passed around a piece of paper. Speak louder. So you see that we're kind of shouting right now, just so that we make sure you can hear us. And I want to welcome everybody who's calling in, area code 651-343 and area code 848-459 and area code 952-303. So I just want to say hello to Indra and Tyra, and I believe this would be Rosemary. No, the 651? Okay, somebody else, not Rosemary. Rosemary is outside the church passing out flyers. Okay, so Michelle's equation is echoing a lot of my equation too, and I think Amelia's and Katie, do you have that effect on the wildlife as well? Do the wildlife kind of give you information by your presence among them?
I've always been connected to even the insects.
The who, what?
Even the insects.
Ah. And Joey, are you finding?
Not so much, although things do happen. I see snakes once in a while.
Snakes in Minnesota, I don't imagine is that common, is it?
Yeah, but not necessarily.
Do you have any toxic snakes here in I guess you have the rattlers, right?
On
the river banks. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Everybody comes down to get a drink and smack. I got it. Okay. So over the years, for those of you that have been following this program, we talk about the effect of Kundalini in the natural world and how the natural world is attracted to the people that are giving off strong levels of radiance into their environment, and how the moths may come to you, the birds may come to you, the mammals may come to you, or at least stand up and stare at you. The fish may actually come near you. And this is because everything on this world, plant and animal alike, is evolving towards the reflection of its own divine nature. Everything is evolving that way, including us. Now, the Kundalini of a pine tree, or the enlightenment of a pine tree, will be a different scenario than, say, the enlightenment of an Irish woman that has awakened Kundalini, and who is going to the bathroom again to sound check. Anyway, so it'll be a different scenario, but it is still a force that is directed towards levels of enlightenment for all life forms on this planet. And so this ties in to the ahimsa aspect of the Kundalini natures, where you do no harm. Now, granted, within the ahimsa aspect, life consumes life. And so you don't necessarily, there's no easy way to kill a life form so that you can consume it. The best way to approach that, as I have mentioned on this program before, is to be very respectful and very grateful for that life form to become part of your life form. As you eat that leaf of lettuce, that leaf of lettuce becomes part of your equation. And its imperative to drive itself towards a divine signature joins up with yours, and so on and so forth. As you continue your life and you continue to consume life on this planet, so do you engage the other life forms that are actually pointed in the same direction that you are. Okay, and so we need to begin to realize that, and to stop using pesticides, stop using herbicides, and stop using these forms of killing agents just because our ego says, oh, my lawn doesn't look like my neighbor's lawn, therefore I better kill all these weeds, or whatever it is. Do you have that situation in Australia, Michelle?
Yes, definitely. You should see me with rent inspections.
What do they do?
Because they're really strict. So you've got to be, your lawn's got to be cut nicely. The weeds have got to be pulled, and I'm like crying nearly every time I go to pull it. I'm sorry. I've even tried to get some sort of system going so I can replant them and then replant them somewhere else, but they never last. I try, but it never works.
That is so sweet. Oh my gosh, that is really, really kind. And I know that there are people here in the United States that are doing the same exact things. I just don't pull them. I don't have to deal with a rent inspection. What I will do is I will mow them, and so I will have shall we say, a short-haired meadow in front of the door rather than a long-haired meadow. But I don't kill them. It's really, and it's God, it's just really, it goes against life to end life for egotistical vanity reasons. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And Amelia's looking at me quizzically right now.
So, Susan, okay, so what about weeds? In that sense, say weeds in the middle of a flower bed, that sort of thing, you pull them, you run them.
There is no such thing as a weed. It is a vegetable-based life form that has its own evolution, that has incredible amounts of information, that has its own right to be here growing on this world. And it has its own right to be here growing on your lawn, just as you have the right to be growing where you are on this world. Just because you can reach on over and pull that thing up by the roots doesn't give you the right to do it. Think about that. You don't have the right to end the life of a weed. You just heard Michelle, just like, oh, I'm sorry. She pulls up each weed. And that is as it should be. That is the correct manifestation of grace from a Kundalini awakening individual when it comes to the ending, the senseless and most disrespectful ending of another life form on this world. You can grow your tomatoes. You can clear the ground and grow your tomatoes. You can clear the ground and you can grow your radishes, your carrots, your lettuce, your melons, all of these things. But there's a time and a place to do it. Now, when the weed, goes through its cycle, well, when it's dying, and then boom, you can bring that thing up because it's finished with its cycle, and so on and so forth. And so you can get a good-sized plot of land cleared for crops, and then you can rotate those crops, and you can begin to cherish the soil. Matter of fact, there's a couple of books out there called, one is called The Secret Life of Plants, and the other one is called The Secrets of the Soil. And I'll suggest for those of you that are very, very interested in this topic, that you read those books. They're written by a gentleman by the name of Christopher Bird, and I think he also has another author there mentioned, but he's the main author, and he wrote both the books, and it's The Secret Life of Plants and The Secrets of the Soil. And this will give you a really good primer on how to be a conscientious farmer in the way that you can grow the food you need to grow in your garden for your own sustenance. And you can also allow those other life forms to have their place in the sun and their seat in the soil as well. So there's that. Now, and Amelia, what has brought you out here to the United States?
Well, that's a trick question. So I've wanted to come to Minnesota for a while because I know Rosemary and I've met Joey, and I'm aware of the Kundalini community here. So there's nothing like community and meeting other Kundalini people. So that's part of it, and meeting people from Facebook, such as Katie that I haven't met before that lives here, and Michelle joining us as well. So that's a big reason why I came, Prism, to meet other Kundalini people.
Which is kind of what we discussed at the beginning of the show, is to be there amongst other Kundalini people, and to be able to explore the energetic ramification of that kind of a wavelength blending. And basically what will occur is that for as much as the individual can have it, how do I say it? There's a term for this, but everybody's Kundalini will raise. It will raise itself along the spine for that moment in time that we're all together, like at the seminar, sitting here at this table. It will follow the strongest activation or awakening wavelength, and it doesn't matter where you are with it, your Kundalini will come up a notch. So one thing you want to be aware of that is, as your Kundalini comes up to speed with some of these other Kundalini equations, so will the inner symptoms increase. So let's just say, you're kinking off the end of a hose and you're ballooning up the body of the hose, right? Well, within that hose that's being expanded, you're getting these cracks and these micro fissures within it. Not so much to burst the hose, but certainly enough to irritate it. And so this is what you want to be aware of, is your level of irritation, your level of patience, your level of muscle relaxing, within. I was talking earlier with Michelle before the program about how your muscles can really, really hyper contract on you, and it's like your body. You're walking around with a body of these super contracted muscles without any relaxation time. Because the electricity or the energy of the Kundalini, pulls them into an excited mode, and it just stays there. It stays there. Day in, day out, day in, day out. You begin to discover muscles that you never had, like in your back. And then when the Kundalini starts manipulating your muscles to spread the energy vertically or horizontally, then you realize that the muscle groups are actually being used in combination for the dispersal of the energy within the body. And that hyper contracted muscle group that you have there right between your shoulder blades and in right near your sternum are actually being used as like massage hands on the inside of your body that allow the Kundalini to push and to knead and to pull and to rearrange the energetics on the inside of the body as well as on the surface of the body too. And this is a hugely important scenario. I'm looking on the on the chat room here, and I hope the sound is better. You said I sounded kind of distant, so I'm trying to project here right now. So Vicky, if you could let me know if it's better when I talk like a opera singer, well then I shall do that. Yes, there we are. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and see. Does Indra have a question? Do you know? Indra disappeared.
Is she back at 2:08? No, she's not. She's obviously coming back.
Okay, all right. So if anybody has a question that they would like to ask any of our guests here, Michelle or Katie or Joey or what?
You press number 1 on your dial pad. We see a question mark and we'll bring you on live.
Yes, indeed. Press that number 1. And if any of you here have a question that you'd like to ask anybody in the chat room, I'll be more than happy to relay that question. Thank you, Vicky. Okay, well, for the in respect to the time that we have here, I would like to go ahead and have Santara begin our question and answer series that we always have at about this time. Because I know that when you're sitting around the table getting interviewed, it gets a little slow. So yes, it gets a little slow. The stage voice here. Hello.
Okay. The first question comes from my not of the group's prism. So, can a person with a sinner background of corruption, addiction, prostitution awaken Kundalini?
Well, speaking from my own experience with these conditions, I'm going to have to say yes. It doesn't really matter unless you've gone out and killed somebody or, committed some really terrible karmic crime. It's not going to inhibit your levels of activation because it's going to embrace your levels of self-forgiveness. Now, it doesn't mean that, it's going to be an easy ride by any stretch. I mean, for some reason, your life path has given you into, let's just use prostitution. Prostitution is something that we all do every day. Okay? We all do it. Everybody that has a job is prostituting themselves for that money. And it's just that some people, use other parts of the body that other people don't use. Okay? Now, if it were legalized, we can make sure everybody was healthy, everybody was happy, and maybe taxing or something of that nature could take place and, help the general economy. But no, because we live in some sort of a Judeo-Christian creation of what is right or wrong, we're not allowed to do that. Whereas in other cultures, prostitution is very well accepted and expected within that society. So you'll never hear me talking down about prostitution. I might joke about it, but I won't talk down about it because it is a viable way of earning a living, just like working as a professor at a college or as a doctor at a hospital or as president of the United States as we're currently experiencing. So no, there is nothing wrong with prostitution. Matter of fact, this is getting straight into ego judgmentalism. You're just judging somebody by what the society says is right or wrong, whether or not it's right or wrong. So there's that. Drug addiction. In our country, you really get it from both ends. I mean, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You grow up as a child looking at the sign for the corner drugstore saying drugs sold here, and you realize it's like, yeah, mom told me to go to the drugstore to get her some pain for her sore muscles or for her headache or for her tummy ache or whatever it is. And so, yeah, I'm on my way to the drugstore, to get the better living through chemistry situation back to my mom. And then, I come up to high school. I'm in high school and somebody says, hey, dude, you want to smoke a doob? And of course, the person's, curious about that. And of course, we've been listening to, don't do drugs, this is your brain on drugs, this type of thing, the scare tactics. And yet everybody's doing it. And they seem to be having a good time and it's not hurting anybody. And all of a sudden it's legal in a lot of states. So no, I'm not going to make a judgment on those people either, because first of all, they've been raised with the programming that drugs are okay to take all the time. Here, we can get an aspirin over here, we can get a Tylenol over there, we can get an Advil over here. And the only reason it's legal is because it's made by a huge company called pharmaceutical. Not buying it, folks. Okay. So I'm not buying the whole addiction thing. You don't make a judgment on that too. What was the other? Corruption. Now that's a different story. We grow up in a society that knows what is right and what is wrong. You intrinsically within this society, from a very small child up to an adult, know that if you hurt somebody, then there's a good likelihood that they're going to hurt you back. We grow up with the understanding, hopefully given to our parents, that we share the road. Today, as I was driving through the great state of Minnesota and the great cities of Minneapolis and various suburbs, people cut in front of you or whatever, then you just, they're not sharing the road so much. Maybe that's what they should do. But when we come to corruption, this, in my understanding, and I'm not looking at the Webster definition of corruption right now. When we come to corruption, it's the purposeful activities of intentional malaise upon other people. And so if I was to talk to Michelle here, it's just like, hey, Michelle, you know what you can do is you can use your Kundalini power here, and you go to the casino, okay, and you start looking through the cards, and you see first you look for a color, red or black, then you look for whether it's got more than red or black in it, and then you know what that top card is, and you can put the big bet out there. You can cheat, Michelle. You can cheat. Go ahead, try it. Is corrupting. That is an intentional level of antisocial and in some cases illegal activity that you're giving to another person with the intention of corrupting or creating a level of corruption within their life equation, or in this case with Michelle, will be her Kundalini equation, or Katie or Joey or Amelia, anybody. And so that's a different deal. Now, if you're trying to awaken the Kundalini and you're going around corrupting people, you might want to stop the corrupting. I don't care about the drug addiction, except now the drug addiction can hamper you. It can hurt you. It can slow you down tremendously. And it can actually harm you within the Kundalini activation or awakening. It can really damage your crown chakra, which is, some of the weird, strange agenda of companies supported by government agencies. They find that's okay. Oh, yeah, go ahead, do that. Take that weird SSRI that regrooves and rechannels your brain, this way or that. So with the drugs, you want to be very, very, very careful. Now, I used marijuana as an example. Don't take that as a permission slip to go out and blow your brains out with marijuana. Don't do it. if you have to do it, maybe once or twice a year, special event. That's about it. Now, can anybody else comment on this? Michelle, do you have a comment on this at all?
I guess I could say with alcohol, I notice when I do drink that I get a lot of negative thoughts within myself, about everything around me, and I know it's like a toxin, not just to my body but to me mentally, and it's really overwhelming and powerful. But then the next day, obviously, it slowly takes time. As the toxin comes out of my body, that's when I start to feel better within myself mentally as well. So I could say that, yeah, definitely with alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah, alcohol would be a big no-no with the community. Definitely. Not only for the physiological strain that it creates upon the system, but also for the levels of entity infusion that can occur. I mean, all kinds of holes get blown in to your energetic field by use of alcohol and other drugs too, like psilocybin, alcohol, benzodrine. You know, a lot of people like to shoot benzodrine, things like that, especially in Australia, for crying out loud. I was Skyping with someone who was, addicted to that. He's coming off of that, and I'm counseling him to come off of that, and I think so far he's doing well. But it's, when you get messed up with a drug and like within an addiction, it can be very hard to pull yourself out of it. It's not impossible. The Shakti can come in and she can just wipe out any need or desire for that drug to happen. And this happens quite a bit with cigarettes. I've interacted with many people who have the addiction of nicotine, which is hugely addicting drug. And when the Kundalini comes, they just have no urge whatsoever. Matter of fact, they feel like throwing up whenever they smell it. Okay, so yes, the Kundalini can help. Ayahuasca can also help these things, addiction. But the question was, is it advisable to go into Kundalini awakening with prostitution, drug addiction, and corruption? Corruption, no, it's not advisable. Drug addiction, as long as you're willing to work it out, it's fine. Prostitution, not a problem. Over.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay, so you wanted a question there. Have you on the chat room in the studio?
Okay, checking here. Do not. Oh, yes, we do. Okay, here we go. And hello, caller. This is Kristen. How are you? Hello, caller. This is Kristen.
It's Tyra.
Hi, Tyra.
Hi, how are you, Kristen?
I'm doing well. How are you? How are you doing?
Good. Glad to hear you guys again. For some reason, last weekend it didn't work, I guess.
It didn't happen because my computer wouldn't let me sign in to Blog Talk for whatever reason.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, my apologies.
No worries, just a silly question and my observation that, like, whenever I try to meditate, I don't do it every day, but I have to take a break in the middle. But I have observed a pattern that certain lights would not turn on, or certain electric things would, like, on the bulb needle go off.
The items that you have around you that are of an electrical quality stop working. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's normal. That's normal, Tyra. That is normal. And I have a feeling that's what happened to my computer last week as well. And we were just talking before the show with Michelle about that. How your phone won't work, or she couldn't turn off her iPad. She couldn't change channels on it. I mean, look, when the Kundalini wants to message you by virtue of your electronic instruments, pay attention. Right. If she's turning off the light, then maybe she's saying, dim the lights, hon. It's okay. Let's do some meditation. Maybe the light is maybe that device is giving off too much EMF, and she does not want you to be surrounded by that level of electromagnetic frequency, and so she's turning that light off for you. don't let it frighten you. It is a beautiful, beautiful symptom that Grace is indeed with you. She's sitting right there with you, and she's getting ready to help you go into meditation.
Right. So I didn't want to felt like, oh my God, I'm so extra special. But I really see the series of events, like one device after the other, it will pop. When I stop meditating, the same light with the starter will start working. So if I had a gap of, say, 1 week I didn't meditate, that light will work. And all of a sudden, I meditate. In the morning, the light works. I go for meditation, come down and turn the same light on, and it will not turn on. And I'm like, this is like a, what do you call it, self-serving thinking.
Don't try to turn it on anymore.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't want it on. She's kind of going, well, if I keep not turning it on, then she'll finally get the clue.
No, I'm thinking this is not a coincidence. It's happening. I mean, so I thought maybe I should run it by you, then see if
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. I'm glad you did run it by me. And basically, don't even reach for that light switch. You just sit down in meditation and do it in the dark or in the semi-light, whatever you have going on there.
No, I'm talking about these lights are, when I meditate, I don't have the light. I have kind of a darker and very private room. But when, say, I come into my kitchen and I'll turn certain lights on, and this is like a bright white light. If I turn the yellow light off, it will work. But this bright white light always has
Is it a fluorescent light?
It's not fluorescent, but it's like a white. You know, kitchens have like a big white light in the middle, which is very bright light.
Is it one of those mercury lights that don't use a lot of energy? Yeah, those are not very healthy for you. Right. So she may be turning that off just to protect you from the level of mercury frequency that's being pushed into your energetic envelope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad
the old light bulbs are better for the Kundalini people. I haven't mentioned this before. It's funny. It's the first time that it's come up that I've mentioned it to people. I don't go for those kind of lights anymore that are anywhere near the body. Maybe has an outside light. That's fine. Something that you have on all night long to keep the criminals away. But for the lights that are right next to you, get the old-fashioned bulbs. You can get the low wattage. You can get a 40 watt, 60 watt, that type of thing.
Right.
The Kundalini seems to enjoy that better than these mercury-based products.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that you shared this information. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm glad that you stimulated me to share this information. It's all your fault, Indra.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for calling in, my dear.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Yeah. So I haven't mentioned it before, but this is a fact. The fluorescent lights give off an EMF wavelength that is slightly disturbing to the energetic awareness and the energetic expression of Kundalini, and it's also very irritating to people that are not activated or awakened. It can be you can hear that 60 cycle hum, or you can hear it. And it's a pervasive sound that is almost of a pollution quality. And then you step up into the mercury lights, and I know when I say mercury lights, you're thinking street lights, but these are not street lights. These are these low wattage, 15, 9 watts of a little swirl that you plug in. It's got that big base that's full of computer circuitry. You want to steer clear of those. Just get what used to be called the normal white bulb when you were in the 70s or 80s, before these things came up. Screw that thing in and enjoy that level of incandescent light.
Isn't it quite amazing how Kundalini gives us that kind of information, and we think it's a coincidence for a while, but she keeps at it, and it's a real communication. Isn't it amazing and wonderful?
This is communication to our health. The health of the energetic envelope. We are that envelope, and so she is doing what she can do. What she can do in a very strong way to keep us healthy and vibrant and active, within our physical life so that we can express more of the divine life into this world and amongst each other. Maybe, change some of the frequencies of reaction towards the environment and amongst people on this world. And I'll go for the next question.
Okay, so I go back to the one that was second. So the next one is, I never had experience of chakras except for the crown chakra during awakening or in daily meditation. What could be the possible reason?
That would be a top-down activation. Top-down, typically. If you have done a drug, that could also occur if you've done a drug, some like LSD or any kind of a drug-based experience. It will hit the crown chakra first, and the other chakras won't even be touched. And this can create a strong level of out of balance within a person. The lower chakras aren't just there for decoration. Okay, they serve an incredibly important, a very huge process within the Kundalini awakening. It's not all about the third eye opening or the crown chakra opening. A lot of people just want to take these shortcuts. Not that this person is doing that, but a lot of people want to take these shortcuts. So they'll take a drug or they'll do a practice that will give stimulation and activity to the crown, but will not do anything with the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth chakra. This is not recommended at all. But it happens. It happens with folks. And maybe perhaps it's happened with this person. Did they go into any of the particulars, Amelia, about how and what they're doing to bring the Kundalini up?
No, cousin. And I'm just wondering, and I'm not sure and I don't know, could the person be asking why is it they only feel the crown chakra? They don't feel the other chakras. Let's assume they've had a bottom to top. Could that be possible that you'd only, we say they awaken sometime?
Why would we assume that?
I don't know.
I see. More of a focus needs to be given on the lower chakras. I know that people that have the Kundalini in practice, because they're doing a lot of spiritual practice, they're bringing their eyes up, they're doing all this stuff, but they're ignoring the physical body. They're ignoring doing the exercises. They're ignoring, say, the 5 Tibetans. They're ignoring yoga. They're not strengthening as much as they could with those lower chakras. And so instead of focusing so much on what the crown chakra is giving you, and especially if you already know that you have a distinct communication and awakening within the Kundalini, you need to begin to ask the Kundalini Mother, ask the Shakti to help you begin to focus on what you need to do to begin to awaken the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So that you're not just relying on the seventh chakra. You're not, being so ungrounded. You're not basically a flower blooming, floating in midair without a stem, leaves, or roots. In other words, incredibly ungrounded. So focus on what you know to do, and I know you know to do it. Focus on the safeties that ground you. Focus on the safeties that do the work on the lower chakras. Focus on the lower chakras. And let the Kriyas come if they come. Don't be afraid of that. I'm sure you wouldn't. But focus on the lower chakras. Focus on the heart chakra. Focus on giving that love, expressing that love, allowing yourself to cry. Allowing yourself to cry with bliss. I know in a lot of cultures, you're not allowed to cry. You're not allowed to show emotion in any way, shape, or form. You got to be strong. A manly man, strong like bull. But no, you don't get to do that. with Kundalini, she understands that there's a necessity for a person, male or female, to have a sensitive nature. So you develop that sensitive nature. Okay, over. Next question.
Thanks, Cousin. Next question is, why do we chakra breathe? Your chakra breathing technique.
This comes from my own activation, my own, what the Kundalini had me doing. And as with all of my teachings, these are things that come to me directly from my Kundalini. And so there are two things that are concerning this. The same question could be asked of any Hindu adept at Kundalini. Well, why do you do pranayama? Why do you do that? Why do you stimulate the Ida and the Pingala, those two rivers of Kundalini that surround the chakras from the base of the spine to the top of the nostrils, 1/8 inch inside of each top nostril? Why do you do the alternate nostril breathing? Why? Well, it's because it gives prana into the system, and it assists the system in coming into a higher energetic vibratory rate that will allow and feed and nourish the Kundalini to come up. Well, it's the same thing with chakra breathing, except I find chakra breathing far more effective. And she gave that to me. So she gave it to me. And because she knew what she was preparing me to do and to talk to people about this, she gave me techniques that work. And they've worked with other people. Matter of fact, the person that just asked a question about the top of the seventh and not feeling the other chakras. Well, if that person were to institute chakra breathing from the base to the throat, that would truly begin to transform that person's energetic experience with the Kundalini. Okay? I did this over and over and over, and it worked really well. And no, you're not going to crystallize your chakras and destroy them like you read it. And like, oh, Lord. Some of the stuff you read about how fragile they make you become in order to sustain some sort of a manifestation of dominance over what you think you can do with your body. Your Kundalini knows what it can handle. Now, if your Kundalini doesn't want you to chakra breathe, she won't let you do it. If your Kundalini doesn't want you to do pranayama or alternate nostril breathing, she won't let you do it. And let's just say, going back to another question that we talked about earlier, say you're addicted to some drug, right? Or you've done a drug or something, and you're recovering from whatever, but you've weakened some aspect of the energetic anatomy that pranayama, alternate nostril breathing, or chakra breathing would not be conducive for. She won't let you do it. You've got to understand that Kundalini gets the final say, not you. Not you. She's the boss. She's the mama. If mama ain't happy, nobody happy. So you chakra breathe because you're helping stimulate a nutritious flow of prana and intention into the lower chakras that will bring the Kundalini up. You're doing this on purpose, folks. This is you participating consciously with your Kundalini. This isn't you just going, okay, I'm gonna sit next to a tree and pray, oh, Kundalini, come to me, awaken in me. You're not, even though that does have some permission with it, you're actively going into it. You're listening to her. You're using the information that she gives you. And just because she gave it to me personally, and I'm giving it to you from her experience with me, she knew that I would be talking with you. She knew I would be doing this radio show. She knew that I'd be hooking up with Santara and with Michelle and Katie and Joey and Rosemary. She knew this was going to happen. Goes back to another conversation I had earlier about, people put limitations on Shakti because they put limitations on themselves. They They don't expand themselves wide enough to realize that she already knows what's going on with you. And she knows what's going on 10 days from now with you, or 10 weeks, or 10 months, or 10 years. She knows the pattern of probabilities that are going to follow for you. And you've got to take that in mind when you're dealing with the Shakti Kundalini. She's divine, means she is God. And God knows. God knows that she knows what to do with you and how to respond to you. And so because God knows and she knows and Kundalini knows and Shakti knows what Chrism is going to do with the information that she has given him, that she wants him to do, because he's going to be the obedient little human child that he is, and he's going to tell people about this. So she gives me techniques that will help other people excite their Kundalini, stimulate their Kundalini. Joey's going to go over and throw up now. Over. Joey left the studio in her kitchen. Yeah.
Working positively and proactively and why do we still have to we Shakti breathe further?
You could, but it's not advised because of the difference between, say, the ajna and the throat chakra. In some cultures, in the culture that she pulled for the safeties, the 5 Tibetans, which act as 5 distinct pumps, pulling up prana and pulling up chi energy up the spine every time you do them. She is following at that point. She is following the Asian system. She's taking the Asian system and she's saying, yeah, the Asian system's good too. And you've only got 5 chakras in the Asian system. And so the 5th chakra becomes the 7th chakra in the Hindu system, I forget the name of those folks. Anyway, so the 5th chakra becomes the 7th. Okay, and so she mixes and matches the different systems that she feels will be most appropriate for the general population that is working towards Kundalini. When she devised the safeties for me, you can look at the safeties and you can really see that she pulled from shamanism, she pulled from Christianity, from Islam, from Hinduism, from all the different cultures and practices and techniques of this world of humanity in order to bring together a very specific system of Kundalini, safe Kundalini interaction with the unawakened individual. And so, storming the gates of heaven is not what the safeties are about. Storming the gates of heaven is, taking copious amounts of LSD or psilocybin or various street level drugs or even pharmaceuticals, smoking that DMT every night or, any of these types of scenarios that really push you, doing ayahuasca 5,000 million times like some of these guys like to do, geez, Louise. How much barf is enough for a person? I don't know. But that is storming the gates of heaven. Because they're not doing the ego work either. You got to understand is that within the safety protocols, you're doing ego work. You're working on that corruption angle. You're working on the noble behaviors. You're instituting selfless service. You're giving kindness, consideration, forgiveness, compassion, selfless service into your Kundalini awakening equation, which is modifying all 5 bodies of the Kundalini expression at the same time. You're not just taking a drag and stepping back and, going back on your couch, turning on the football game and saying, okay, do me, baby. I'm ready. I'm watching Kansas City lose. Over.
Just Chrism, because you teach or you say leave the third eye alone, I suppose that's what I meant as well. I mean,
yes.
Is that a form of storming?
True. Thank you. You're absolutely correct, Amelia. Yeah, let's talk about that. I have before, but let's do it again. So many people want to see things. We're a very visual species. We want to see God. We want to see fairies. We want to see elves. We want to see spirits. We want to see our dead Aunt Janie. You know, we want to see. We want to see. Right? Am I right? Can I hear that? Hallelujah. Amen. Hallelujah. Right. Okay. So we want to see UFOs. Yeah. We want to see all these different things, and we want to see God, and we want to be able to see through the body. We want to be able to see into the slot machine when it's going to win. We want to see these things. You want to have an edge on society. We want to be seen as that great medium. We want to be able to look at Joey and go, oh, yes, Joey, I see this and that spirit over you, and they're telling me to tell you to trim your toenails. I mean, things like that. I mean, we want to have these powers. And, the Ajna chakra, the sixth chakra, the third eye, has powers. And so everybody, the popular thing right now is to open your third eye. And I get a lot of these people coming on the various communities that I work with, wanting to open their third eye. And it's just not a very good advice. It is not a good goal. It is not healthy for you. It can really, really damage you. It can bring on migraines like you would not believe. Migraines and third eye activation go hand in hand, ladies and gentlemen. And just because you've never had a headache in your life doesn't mean that you're not going to get one if you keep storming the gate of heaven to try to get that third eye opened. You don't want to do that. Look, if you follow the safeties and you work from the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, you're going to get to the sixth. And that's not even the real, that's still within the physical ramifications. It's, when you get to the crown, the jewel, that Vesica Pisces between divine and the physical matrix, the divine physicality, that's the real treasure. You don't need to know, what so-and-so looks like naked, looking through her wall while she's taking a shower. Like I know you want to do. You don't need to. You don't want to have prurient interests supporting your metaphysical explorations. Okay. You don't want to search for power just to have power. You want to earn that power through transformation. The power is yours to have. It belongs to the Shakti within you, and she is within you. And so you have the potential to manifest those powers with her guidance, with her permission. And so don't skip all the other chakras and go straight for the sixth chakra thinking that you're going to do something wondrous. What you're going to do is you're going to give yourself some massive headaches. Massive headaches. No drug will be able to fix for you. Don't go there. Over. Yeah. Oh, she's got more.
Yeah. I'm just aware that Rosemary would like to probably talk about the seminar, and she is not free for patient.
Oh, got it. Hello. Hello, Rosemary. Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
What?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Maybe
yes,
not.
I can hear you.
Thank you. I'm on the road, but I pulled over very safe spot.
That's a scary thought, but go ahead.
Yes. Well, I just want to have an opportunity to invite people who are listening and those who will listen after. You have a few more days left before the seminar. And from what you've heard from people there and listening to the Kundalini yourself, it is a powerful experience. And it was the very beginning of my journey. And I just was some guidance I had that I didn't make right or wrong. I just went and oh my goodness, it is unbelievable that benefits that come to us through this awakening process, with that beginning in a seminar or expanding through a seminar. So my information is this phone number that I'm hoping is working, is 651-329-9615, and I welcome the opportunity to talk to people about this and the opportunity for them. And Rosemary G. at U.S. Internet. I sometimes get messages at both places from people, and they are equally happy to hear as I am.
Let me give you the phone number again, ladies and gentlemen. Rosemary's number is 651-329-9615, 329-9615, and give her a call, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously, if you are able to just get here by Saturday and Sunday, get here, do this seminar. It's very rare. It is not happening all the time, even though I know it's been happening at least once a year here in the great state of Minnesota. This is really one of the few areas where it's happening. It's not happening so much in California, not happening so much in New York, not happening at all in Louisiana, not happening in Kansas City, not happening in Georgia, not happening in PA or Maine. Go ahead. I dare you to check on the web. This type of an ascension format of a spiritual evolution is not happening anywhere but Mankato, Minnesota, United States. So please contact Rosemary. Please contact Rosemary at 651-329-9615. Rosemary G at Comcast, Usernet.
No. USInternet.com.
Rosemary G at usinternet.com. Now,
yeah.
Rosemary, I want you to be very safe getting back on that highway.
I am.
Good. Look forward to seeing you here.
Yes, and we look forward to the community that we will have and will develop through that seminar. And as
Absolutely.
you have been listening all along, Santara is here from Ireland and Michelle from Australia. We have someone from Florida, from Arkansas, and from
Seriously,
Minnesota. And
we've got a professor coming from Florida. And look, if you get tired of the fat old guy with the beard up top, go on over to Michelle. She's a cute young blonde thing. Go over to Katie. She's a cute young blonde thing. Go over to Amelia. Go over to Joey. They'll tell you. You know, you don't have to listen to that guy. Yeah, so thank you, Rosemary, for doing the yeoman's work there at the church. Did you intervene?
Not yet. I'm on my way. That's where I'm on the road.
All right, my dear.
I'll let you know how that goes when I get there. And again,
good.
Thank you. Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye. And next question.
Who are archangels?
Archangels. Archangels are a form of divine creation that basically organizes other angels. They don't, to some degree, they will have an interest in what goes on with humanity. One of the most interesting aspects of archangel interaction would be trying to remember the name of an author here. She wrote really, really popular. No, please, not even mention that name. No. She wrote books like of Captains and Kings and. No. Stop! Oh my God! All right, I'll look it up right now. Geez, I better do it fast. Okay, I'm looking it up right now. And she wrote these books, and she was, it's really Taylor Caldwell.
Oh.
So Taylor Caldwell wrote these books, and one day a group of people, were discussing her amazing ability to go into such detail with Egyptian surgery techniques 2,000 years ago, or with, the different psychological aspects, or, really, really in-depth, say like Egyptian brain surgery, or ancient Egyptian surgeries for hypoglycemia, or what they call the sweet disease, diabetes. And they had all these issues then, and they weren't so, they didn't have the American Medical Association to deal with it. They had the Egyptian Spiritual Medical Association to deal with it, which dealt with it quite well. And somehow Taylor Caldwell was able to tap into these techniques. And so how was she able to do that? Well, she agreed to get hypnotized to find the source of her information. And lo and behold, one of the sources of her information was Archangel Michael, who knew her when she was incarnated in Atlantis, and became so enthralled with the beauty of her soul and of her body. He absconded to a planet that he had close management with, which was called the planet of Millennia, and sequestered her there for a time until she began to grow weary of that place, and begged Archangel Michael to let her continue her incarnations on Earth. And he gave her 2 lions that were there to protect her, and those lions always protected her. And there was a strong level of truth inside of this information. And my Kundalini wasn't fighting it, wasn't saying, nope, I didn't get the bullshit meter. And so you need to start looking at expanding your understanding of the multiverse and expanding your acceptance of a very, very different reality than that which we've been taught over the years. And this goes hand in hand with UFOs and alien and the, ET, all that as well. But on the very, very tight subject of archangels, archangels are a higher order of angel, like a cherubim, and they do have a managerial quality with how divine evolution is occurring amongst the many creations that are striving for it. Not just humans, as I mentioned earlier in the program. Okay. And so the archangels will insert themselves into various situations of authority. And it's not, we're calling them angels, we're calling them archangels. It's all reeking of Christianity. Well, it's not all about Christianity. Okay. Let's just call them arch assistants, shall we? I think that's a little more neutral. So these arch assistants, Arch Assistant Gabriel, Arch Assistant Michael, Arch Assistant Raphael, and so on and so forth. They basically manage other angels. Assistants of a more close quality to the human being in this case. And so an angel will come to a person and if they're having a really hard time and they want to commit suicide, and yet that's not that's not supposed to be part of their karma or part of their life path, and there is an opening within their evolution that allows for an arch assistant to assist them, or for another assistant of a lower quality to assist them, then that angel or assistant is directed towards that individual to just come along to them and say, hey, how you doing? And the person will just be compelled to pour out their heart and all their problems to that angel/assistant. And that angel/assistant will listen to them. And the whole time it's listening to them, a manipulation of their energetic field is being done. And they no longer come out of that conversation feeling that they want to commit suicide. And they'll turn around and that assistant is gone. One assistant would hang out at a turnoff in the Midwest, somewhere in the United States, There's a little lake, and there's a bench looking at the little lake. And that assistant, for some reason, that area would draw people that had problems. I guess the fact that the assistant was there would draw people that had very specific problems. And that angelic assistant would sit with them on the bench, sometimes not saying anything, just, smiling and just kind of like looking at the lake. And sometimes, they would have this really, really intense, deep conversation that would be very uplifting for the individual. And this, the individual that came with the problem would be kind of healed of that problem, able to move on in their life. Well, so this is what some of these angelic assistants are doing. And the archangelic assistants are the ones that are being more of an organizational. If you look at the book of, what do they call that book of? There's this channeled book. No. ACIM is good. ACIM, a lot of people awaken Kundalini. No, this is it's just on the 10 light time. Anyway, there's a book out there that's been around since the 50s that tries to categorize and organize the angelic structures. But the problem is that they do it all along a Christian theme, and most of this earth is not Christian, believe it or not. And so, I have a hard time, with that. But for the Christians, I guess it's a good thing. So archangels are real, and angels themselves are real. And you know how you can really figure that one out? You want to know how you can the way you can truly figure that out is by understanding that evil also exists. Entities that are of a demonic quality also exist. And we know that because we see Kundalini people falling prey to them every now and again, or more. Okay? So it's very important to understand that. You don't get to look at a polarization and just do one side of the coin. You got to look at both sides. And just as there are really, really strong levels of corruption, negativity, and evil, whatever, and most of these things are existing more in the human heart than anywhere else. And they're the ones that humanity is what created these poles of negativity, but also, the poles of positivity. The archangels are just the other side of the coin, helping us and helping humanity to do what humanity is here to do, and that is to evolve into Kundalini people. Hello. Hello, you Kundalini people out there. Why do you think on some of the shows that I've mentioned that Kundalini people have wings? They grow out of the shoulder blades, and they itch, and they start out with bumps, and then they grow into knobs, and then you can actually feel them, if not see them, when they begin to unfold. Who's to say that angels are not born on this world through the Kundalini process? Think about that. Over.
Okay. So the next question is, okay, during meditation, I am seeing different images, colored lines and figures. Last night, it was a snake which came very close to my torso and was absorbed by my body. Do I try my best to ignore this?
No, you don't do your best to ignore this. This, especially when it deals with a Kundalini creature, like a spider or a serpent or a lion or an eagle or a praying mantis or a hummingbird. No, you don't. You can ignore some of the other ones, but the ones that are communicating to you through the auspices of a Kundalini creature, and especially one that's being absorbed into your body. No, you don't ignore that. Now, you don't necessarily go crazy over it either, but you go into deep levels of gratitude. Thank you, my Kundalini. Thank you, my Shakti. Thank you, sacred serpent. Thank you for coming into my body and absorbing yourself into my body. Thank you, my Kundalini. That's the appropriate response to that. Over.
Thanks, Susan.
Well, I didn't have one. I had the Kundalini, and she is pretty present in my life, I mean, I would have the hummingbirds come right up to my face, and I would, I'd have the spiders, the giant 12-inch spiders come up to me and say, hey, I had the serpents under the bed. I had this, God, my dream life, everything. And so I was guided to meditate every day for a year in an old garden shed surrounded by black widow venomous spiders on every wall except the wall of the door. And I made an agreement that I would not bother you if you don't bother me. They never bothered me. And I meditated for every day. And I was given mantras, and I was given positions to assume there in the dark of that aluminum shed. We all know about aluminum. And I didn't have some guru guy going, okay, put your tongue up. like you do. With
Okay.
So you can do it. You can do it. It's just that when you get deeper into the realms of Kundalini, it is very helpful to have guidance, extremely helpful. And in some ways, it can be life-saving to have guidance. Make sure you don't walk off a cliff or crash your car or do something that you don't need to be doing. Over.
Thanks, Susan. When I observe my breath, so meditation question. When I observe my breath in meditation, the energy starts rising up the third chakra. Is this okay and normal?
Did you say when I observe my breath during meditation?
Breath.
What?
Breath.
Breath? Oh, I see.
I'm not commenting on
well, when you observe your breath during meditation, and what happens?
The energy starts rising up to the third chakra.
This is okay. This is good. This is progress. Observe your breath as much as you want, but don't be surprised at the different levels of energetic activity that will occur. When people meditate, mostly they're not paying so much attention to their body, but you are, and this is good. This gives you a level of discernment of the different reactions and responses that your body can develop. So, yeah, having the energy flow in an upward fashion is very good, no matter what chakra you're at. If it's flowing upward from the base, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the upward motion is the desired motion to go with. And so this is progress. You're doing well. Keep it up. Over.
Another meditation question. I think too much pressure on my head while meditating. I just can't take it. It feels as if I will explode.
What did I answer to that?
Stop.
Yeah, stop meditating. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And really stop. Don't just stop for 3 days. I mean, you can try 3 days at first. Stop for 3 weeks. Give your body a chance to acclimate what you've already done. And for heaven's sake, don't do the third eye opening thing, which I have a feeling you're doing. Keep yourself away from that storming the gates scenario. And when I mean stop meditating, that means I want you to stop putting your eyes up too. In addition, so over.
Thanks, Susan.
Okay, so this is a little bit longer, this question.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and yeah, I hope it's clear. Moderation is different for everyone, but I've been called a delicate flower, so it's much lesser for me. I'm always overthinking things, but it's very, very high right now. I know I should meditate, but I don't think I can without getting in warm water or rock climbing. I could write forever. I could go into something else thought, and I can't read my own writing, but that's basically
That's all right. That's all right. Hey, look, we're all delicate flowers. Everybody. Okay, we're all delicate flowers. And if you're being given the opportunity to have a key for you towards meditation, like getting in warm water or climbing on a rock, get in the bathtub or climb a rock. This is not rocket science. Okay? Get in some warm water like a bathtub. Maybe put one of those fizzy bath bombs in there while you're at it. Do a little aromatherapy. And then, and do this after you do the meditation while you're sitting out there on the rock. Or if you're doing the rock climbing thing. And I lived in Yosemite for 4.5 years. I know all about rock climbing. And I know how you can really ground you, and I know how you can really, you do a hand jam into a crack and you pull yourself up and you just kind of stay there for a little bit. I know about the real rock climbing, bouldering, Class D climbing, all about this type of stuff. So I get that. So go do that. Get your climbing gear on. Belay yourself down to a certain ledge. Maybe sit on the ledge. Make sure your safety gear is intact. Be very, very conscious of your safety, and meditate there. There's nothing wrong with that. And while you're in meditation, maybe you can ask the Kundalini, well, why can't I just go sit on the floor in my house with my legs crossed and my fingers in the Gyan Mudra, my tongue tipped behind my upper front teeth, my eyes looking up and breathing through my nose? Why can't I just do it that way? Maybe she'll respond to you. Maybe she'll say, yeah, well, you can if you just want to. Maybe she won't. Maybe she wants you out there on that rock. Maybe she wants you in the bathtub. There's nothing wrong with meditating those ways at all. That is not a problem. And I encourage you to do your meditations along the lines that you feel compelled to do from your own Kundalini. Over.
Thank you, Kundalini. Has anyone experienced a change of eye color? My eyes used to be hazel, but now it's silvery blue. I checked with my eye doctor. He said he had no idea why they had lightened. Just curious.
Well, mine didn't. Mine were blue. I've had blue eyes most of my life. And then when the Kundalini came, I got a shot of green right next to the pupil. Can you see that? Anybody? Yeah, we'll fix that. Got the handy. Oh, I turned it off. Oh well. Yeah. It'll change your eye color. It'll change them. It'll lighten them up. It'll darken them. It'll actually change the color. My eye colors actually was changed, and I went from strictly blue eyes to green in the middle and then blue on the outside. And I wasn't overjoyed with that. I kind of liked the blue eyes. But, I can understand it. Hey, if the divine wants me to have these kind of eyes, then I'm all for it. I'll have calico eyes if I need to. So, yeah, it'll change your eye color. It'll change lots of things. It'll change your hair. It'll change the thickness of your hair. It will change whether your hair is straight or curly, typically more curly with the Kundalini. It'll change your blood pressure, typically higher, sometimes lower. Many people with the Kundalini have extremely high levels of blood pressure like I do. And, the doctors look at that and they think you ought to be in the hospital because you're going to have an aneurysm or some sort of a thing like that. We don't. Some people get extremely low blood pressure where you shouldn't even be able to stand, but you do. Okay. Many of the Kundalini people fall outside of the bell curve. Bell curve being that curve that scientists use in order to gauge different populations' symptoms within a medical context. Well, we fall outside of that bell curve because science, first of all, doesn't understand Kundalini. Second of all, doesn't accept it. And because it doesn't accept it, it doesn't include it within the bell curve. Okay, so there are many, many things of the physical body that will change because Kundalini is present in an activated or awakened state within that body. Over.
Can I just ask Indra, I read today, Indra, on Facebook. So if you are playing now, we will see you and we will try it, okay? We'll give it a go.
If you have your questions still, okay?
Come on, Indra, don't give up so quick. Come on, we're waiting for you. I got a panel of 5 people here now. We can do it, baby. We can do it. You come on in.
And I think then you get into the chat room. Okay. The next question is meditation beneficial or detrimental if you have anxiety from a relatively mild case of Kundalini syndrome?
Yes, it is indicated. It is a good thing. Any, for the most part, unless you're having extreme headaches or some sort of a cranial painful response to meditation or eyes up position, meditation is a good thing. So you can do the meditation if you want to. And I'm going to swing it on over here to Michelle. Michelle, do you meditate a lot?
Yes, I do. Kristen recommends 20 minutes, but I let Kundalini decide when she's finished with me.
Just ignore that. Go ahead.
Which is normally longer than 20 minutes. She never gives me less than 20 minutes. So it'll either be 20 minutes on the dot, or sometimes it's even an hour or an hour and a half.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so it's never less than 20 minutes. So I just say that.
And I'm going to swing it on over here. Katie, do you meditate?
Yeah. Every day.
How long?
At the time.
On?
Well, I've been meditating for so many years that I can reach that state of blissfulness, euphoria, in less than 10 minutes. So if I do get interrupted, it's okay to stop that soon, but I'll definitely try to stay for at least 20 minutes, if not a half an hour. And I have hour meditations sometimes too.
Katie, I would like to say right here in front of everybody, you are awesome. You are awesome. Very done that way. Joey, are you meditating at all?
Oh, of course. I do 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening. And if I should fall asleep, Kundalini wakes me up.
Very nice, very nice. Do you ever meditate outside of the bathroom?
I swear, guys. Yeah, I do the 20 minutes with the Tibetans, but I also do more than that as well. So I might do an hour. It varies. That's not true.
Yeah, I recommend an hour. Especially for those that don't have, say the activation stronger or where they want it. When you get to a level of Katie or Michelle, the best thing to do is let the Kundalini handle your meditation time zone. Typically, 21 minutes. If you can bring it down to 21 minutes when you're already activated or in the awakening system, you're going to do well. 21 minutes twice a day. Now, you got to understand, this goes against all these Santa people and all the different New Age practitioners of Kundalini that know what at least they think they know what they're talking about. When you're searching and seeking for Kundalini, it's very different than when you have the Kundalini. Searching and seeking is very different from having and holding. The ladies that are surrounding me right now have it and hold it. And so Michelle can go anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half. Katie can go anywhere. You just heard her say, yeah, I can get to blissful ecstatic states in 10 minutes. Hello? Where are those wings? So yeah, it's very different when we have the Kundalini awakened or activated. Very different. Even in the early activated stage, it's always good to let your Kundalini do it. And like Joey suggests, the Kundalini's watching you. She's watching you. She's got no time constraints. She can pay attention to you. She can see what you're doing, how you're doing what you're doing. And if you fall asleep, well, hello, wake up call. Better than a Motel 6. All right, over.
So that's the end of the questions, Prism. I was just wondering, as it's coming into Halloween, I've noticed here that there's a huge amount of festivity around it, ghouls and all kinds of scary things. And you wrote a post there relatively recently about that in relation to Kundalini. Can you talk on that?
I will. I wrote a post, and I'm going to read it to you right now. Here it comes. If you're feeling the urge to dress like a ghoul or a zombie or some sort of flesh-eating monster because you have an interest in such areas, I'll be happy, more than happy, to remove you from any of the communities that I manage, at least temporarily. I realize this is the Halloween, and I realize that scary things are the way to go, that when we're celebrating Halloween. What I also realize is that if you start putting in the framework a picture of yourself as a flesh-eating zombie, people who are early on in the Kundalini awareness can be negatively impacted with that. I never liked it when I had the Kundalini. Okay, and I'm going to suggest that there are a lot of people who don't like it, as they're in the early stages of Kundalini. You're polluting their visual inner space. And common courtesy, I will suggest that you don't pollute that visual inner space for the people that are in an early awakened quality of the Kundalini. And it's very important that people begin to understand that, to have that consideration. Now Michelle came all the way here from Ireland. I'm sorry, from Australia. And even though she knew that we were having, Halloween celebrations, she very politely put away her flesh-eating zombie mask because she knew that she might be running into sensitive people that may not enjoy that type of thing. Because you got to remember, with the Kundalini, sometimes what you see is what comes to you in the spiritual forms, in the dreamland, in the areas of activity that are part of the Kundalini continuum. And so we try to be gentle with people. We don't, you can dress up as a fairy if you want. You can dress up as Princess Diana, God bless her. You can dress up as a pumpkin. You can dress up as Prince whatever. You can dress up as Amelia Santara. I've seen where you can get the costume. It's cheap. I mean, it's a very expensive costume.
And I'm really scared.
You could dress up as an archangel. You could dress up as a fat guy with a beard, and go around saying, "Oh, blessings to you, my son." You could do all kinds of other things. Just, don't have the flesh falling off of your face and onto your tongue. Am I asking too much here? Now, I know the zombie movies are very popular these days. The world of zombie. Give me the grace of the zombie. I want the zombie to become who I am. and I think that's fine if that's what you want to do, but keep it away from the Kundalini people. I mean, these are sacred areas. These are not profane monster show areas. And I know Halloween is the freedom that we have to exhibit our monsters. And in a way, I think Halloween can be very, very healthy for people to be able to face their own inner demons, this type of thing. Mm-hmm. But within a Kundalini context, it's very different because extreme levels of amplification occur. And those levels of amplification can be very, very detrimental to a person that is really already struggling with demonic entities that are real, with certain levels of spiritual interaction. that can be very detrimental for that. And so I will not allow this stuff on my communities. And it is only for that reason. It's not because I don't like Halloween, love trick-or-treat, bobbing for apples, love, dressing up as Ken doll or Raggedy Andy or a lion, Raggedy Ann. I remember when I was in first grade, I dressed up as a lion and a scarecrow, things of that. Now I know the scarecrow can be a little scary thing, of that nature, but I do insist on levels of sacredness and kindness and consideration within the early awakening stages of Kundalini, and I will take you off of that community for a short period of time. And I don't mean it to offend you, but I do mean it that it will occur. I've already done it. So no offense. Happy Halloween. Have a beautiful, beautiful Halloween experience. Get lots of high fructose corn syrup, but try to make it organic, free-range, breastfed. And really have a happy Halloween. Bob for the apples. Watch out for any of the impurities. Get an organic apple. I personally like the Fuji's. What else can I tell you? Carve the pumpkins. And remember to dry the pumpkin seeds. They're exceptionally good, especially for you men out there. Those pumpkin seeds will put lead in that pencil, let me tell you, if you don't have lead in the pencil. And the pumpkins make really good pie. They make really good, you can bake them and then pour some sort of a maple syrup over them. Yeah, am I right about that? Yeah. You can make pumpkin bread. Oh my gosh, it's just a wonderful, beautiful time of year. The autumn time, the maturation of 2017. Okay, really enjoy it, really celebrate it. Try not to eat your own flesh and keep that off my community. Thank you. All right, everybody, let's all end it with our universal Om here, and I want to thank everybody in the chat room here. I'd like to, oops, wrong one. Come over here and it's hi, Scott Game. He's got some sort of thing. Okay. I'd like to thank Dr. Matt. I see you are on board. Good to see you, my friend. I'd like to thank guest 7064192, guest 712, Vicky Vaughn. Good to see you. We are going off the air for this week. I'd love to see you next week. And Dr. Matt, I'll be seeing you up here. Vicky, I'd like to see you sometime at one of these seminars if you can do it. And Scott Game, I have no idea what you're talking about, but you have a happy Halloween yourself. And coming on over to here. And 1, 2, 3.
An alle Frauen, die gesagt haben, mir fehle das gewisse Extra. Ich hab's jetzt. Von Sinalco. Und euch gebe ich nix davon ab.
Hast du's auch schon? Sinalco extra fruchtig. Jetzt in 3 leckeren Sorten mit 10% Frucht. Gönn dir dein Extra.
Die Sinalco schmeckt.
Und jetzt neu. Sinalco extra zuckerfrei. 0% Zucker, 100% Geschmack.